Welcome to The Grind, a podcast about the church planting process and missional strategies to make disciples of all nations. Coming to you from the offices of the Arkansas Baptist State Convention in Little Rock, Arkansas. Now, here are your hosts, Dave McClung and Chad Grigsby.
Well, welcome, Grind, ladies and gentlemen. This will be kind of episode 2 of our Grind recap, which we're going to call The Big Idea. Big Idea. I am coming to you live from my kitchen table on sick kid duty today. And so I'll try not to give you guys what Maggie has, but through the interwebs. And so sitting here drinking from my handy dandy Groot cup, Guardians of the Galaxy, Marvel. Here's product placement. Send us royalties. So,
well, Disney's really in need of help in that area.
They are. I heard they're having a financial crunch, and so you know. Yeah. So Chad is with me here once again, and so we're going to kind of recap our podcast with Bill Elliff, my pastor, and whom I love dearly. He's been a huge influence and impact on me, and so. Chad, let me just throw it to you. What do we want to talk about as our big idea from this podcast?
The big idea, there were a lot of things that we could talk about for sure, but the big idea is building your church on the foundation of prayer. Maybe in this case, building your church plant on the foundation of prayer. Yeah. As a Christ presence-centered church.
Hey, that's a mouthful.
That's a big idea.
That's a big idea. Yeah. Well, you know, one of the things that I fell in love with Summit about was this whole idea of prayer being the bedrock of what they built the church on. And you see it everywhere. They don't just talk about it from the stage. It's not just Bill doesn't just talk about it from the stage. I mean, they pray over everything. They have staff and elders retreats and weekly staff and elder times where they just pray for direction in the church, for wisdom, dealing with situations, you know, in the church. There are men's and women's groups that pray throughout the week. I'm a part of a men's group every Wednesday morning. It impacts their leadership development. You know, the guys that get up, you know, at 5 o'clock in the morning and make it to Summit at 6 to pray for an hour. Those are not just typical rank and file, you know, church members, but that is a huge shaping time for those men to get involved in the vision direction of the church. And we're praying and helping, you know, drive that direction as well. So, they don't just talk about it. It's a part of everything they do.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, because, you know, almost any church planting training you go to, or any church planter you talk to, really the first thing we'll talk about is prayer. Yeah. And every church planter will say, we need prayer partners, sign up for our prayer newsletter. But to actually pray in every area of your church, I mean, Bill even said, like, his whole leadership development with his staff is to pray with them.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, what a huge, you know, so not only are they praying corporately, praying staff, praying with leadership, you know, it is a thing they do, not just say. And I think as church plants, we got to get more to the doing side of prayer, more than just the, you know, I know everybody assumes this, but the most important thing is prayer. Right. But actually doing it.
Right, right. Well, and that it's built into their weekly rhythms. I mean, it's, you know, Tuesday morning, you know, staff, we're praying together, and nothing takes up. They don't talk strategy. They don't talk business. They don't talk to-do lists. They don't talk anything. They pray. And he said, we block out a couple of hours for that. And he said, sometimes it doesn't go the whole 2 hours. Sometimes it goes longer than 2 hours. And there have been times where they've had staff members that were not used to that and had to learn how to pray. And Bill would, you know, stop the meeting and encourage them and teach them about prayer in those moments. And I'm telling you, it just makes a huge difference. You see the effects of it all over the place in that church.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and they've planted churches all over the country, all over the world. I got 2 in Central Arkansas. Looking to launch another guy out coming up. A couple of guys out coming up. So
yeah, he said something too about that. He said there are times when they'll get together and whiteboard something, but he said often strategies and next steps in sermon, I think even series, maybe I'm putting words in his mouth with that, but
no,
their kind of next steps for their church come out of their prayer time. So
that's exactly right.
Time that they would have spent whiteboarding is, kind of unnecessary in some ways sometimes, because they just spend time praying. So what a cool kind of thing to think of prayer being a catalyst for who knew, for vision and next steps and strategies.
Imagine God speaking to his people in times of prayer to guide them for what they need to do. And we do give it so much lip service, and they've moved beyond giving it lip service to putting into practice. And so as an encouragement, to you guys, our planners, all our listeners, I've seen firsthand the effects of this prayer foundation on Summit itself and Summit Conway, Summit Saline County. Kyle and Zach are doing the same thing with their plants, building on that foundation. And there's just no substitute for that. And it affects your leadership development. It affects your vision. It affects your strategy. It affects your evangelism, your mission, children's ministry, student ministry. I mean, you name it. It's affected by that prayer foundation. So get the first things first. Spend time with Jesus, and he'll let everything else fall into place.
Yeah.
So there's our big idea for the week. Hope you guys enjoy. Listen to the podcast. He talks about a whole lot of other stuff, but that's one thing we didn't want you guys to miss. So big idea for Bill Elliff's podcast. So, all right, Chad, see you, man.
See ya.
Adios.